Now then, welcome to the latest instalment of Red Army TV. It's getting to the pointy end, isn't it? Yes, handful of games left till the end of the season. Will we stick that second foot in the playoff spots? Joining me to discuss on the couch, a man who needs no introduction whatsoever, is, was it 70 odd games for the Borough?
Yep.
70 odd. You've got an exact figure? I thought players, you know. No.
70 odd, I think.
Let's say 79, because it's the higher end of 70, isn't it? Graeme Hedley, midfield maestro. Welcome, mate.
Hello, David. Are you all right?
Good to have you in. Absolutely. I haven't seen you in a while.
A while, yeah.
You well?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah. And sitting out there on the wing, Marc Yafano, who's going to become a bit of a regular here on Red Army. Welcome, mate.
Good evening.
Football team, go on, give them a plug.
Teesside Rangers Junior Football Club.
Good man.
Doing really well.
Yeah, he runs them. Fellas, small matter of Brentford. Borough back down in the smoke. It never used to be a happy hunting ground for us. Aitor Karanka seemed to smash that one, which was quite nice of him. Thanks for that, Aitor. And down we go, we take the lead, but we only bring a point back from a game when we are getting down to the last handful of games. And 3 points, surely, isn't that what we needed, Mark?
Well, I would have thought with our run, we'd have gone for 3 points. But I think, you know, give us a couple of months ago, Graeme, a point would have been really good for us, wouldn't it?
I've seen Brentford play a couple of times this year on the TV.
Yeah.
And they're an excellent home team. Good football side, don't keep the ball in the team and cause a lot of teams some problems. So I thought, to be honest, I thought it was a decent point. The way they finished the game, the goalkeeper made 3 or 4 good saves towards the end. So I think all in all, Middlesbrough will be happy with a point down at Brentford.
A lot of people have said to me, we actually got battered. So bearing that in mind from a player's perspective, what's going on in the head there? You're up against it, it's backs to the walls, you've got 1-1. Are you more psychologically fixed towards let's save this point rather than take a chance?
I think at this stage of the season you can't afford to lose the game. So if you go away with a point, happy. The performance probably wasn't the greatest, but to hang on, keep the run going. There's an unbeaten run going now, so that'll be pleasing for Pulis and the fans. And I think the way things are at the moment, a point's a point away from home. Move on. Some big games coming up.
Yeah, there are some big games coming up. Some big messages as well. Linda's with us. Hi there, up the Borough. Good to see you. Michael Heselhurst, up the Borough. How are you guys? We're okay.
Yeah,
we're chewing the cud over the Borough, and the unbeaten run continues. So lots of messages coming in. Stu Wallace, you are like one of our central midfielders, getting in the box always late. I think he's talking about the fact that we were 30 seconds late going on air today. But nice to have you with us, Stu, mate. Give us a positive comment. Come on, mate. Mark, so decent point then, rather than 2 dropped?
Like I said, I think before the game, going down there with the run we were on, I would have loved 3 points. But like Graeme said, I think even as a professional footballer, a point's a point. And at this sharp end of the season, that run keeps going, Graeme, doesn't it?
There's some teams, Villa Wolves a fortnight ago, get beat at home off QPR. QPR go to Fulham. Fulham murdered them the first half, and then at the end of the game, QPR should have won the game. So there's lots of tension, lots of things going on in footballers' minds at that part of the season. Don't lose the game, get a point, move on. And as I say, the last 8 games now, they're going to have a fortnight's break. They've got to concentrate on the Wolves game, and they've got 4 to home, 4 away. They've got to concentrate on there, set themselves a target, say, right, okay, we need 16 points or we need whatever. That's what we're going for. I was a sales manager with salespeople. Salespeople like to know where they are. They like to know where they are in the league. They like to know what they're going to do. They like to be guided.
And they like to know how much bonus is coming their way.
Exactly. And they need guiding towards what they. So I think Pulis will have a plan. Say, right, okay, we've got 8 games. We need 16 points. This is how we're going to do it.
So you reckon he'll be going to them and saying, defenders, I want this out of you. Attackers, I need this many goals
Personally, I would be saying to them, right, okay, we've got 8 games left. If the back four's solid, goalkeeper's great, the back four, Shotton, Ayala, Gibson, Friend, it's settled. They know where they're going. We say, right, okay, use 5. How many clean sheets are you going to keep the team? In the team room, how many are we going to... Well, we might keep 4. Okay, in them 4 games, so that leaves us with 4 games where if we're going to concede goals, we need to score more than 1. If we get 4 clean sheets, we're going to need 1 goal per game. So that means we need 12 goals between now and the end of the season. So if you 5 keep the clean sheets, who's going to get me 12 goals in this room?
So who's going to get us 12 goals?
Well, I mean, That's a good question for you, Graeme. Will Pulis be asking defenders, saying, I'd like a couple of goals off you,
Well,
I'd like a couple of goals off you, can you get me one, Stewie, from the left or the right side?
absolutely.
Is that what he'll be doing?
Well, hopefully that's what he'll be doing, because at the end of the last 6-8 games, Bamford's gone bonkers. He scored, 6 out of 8 out of... He's scoring for fun. However, the pressure's starting to build on him now. Traore, everybody's looking at Traore. What's he going to do? Is he going to win the games for us? He's playing brilliant. He can't expect to win every game. Stewie Downing's a fantastic footballer, been a great servant to the club. He'll provide, right, Stewie, I need a goal or two from you. You haven't scored for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is. Gibbo, when's the last time you scored a goal? Ayala got a couple at QPR. George Friend got, come on, George. And then it becomes part, right, this is what we're going to do. And the lads will be getting together as a team, not just with the manager, just themselves, right, what we're going to do.
Will they be training on that, Graeme, as well?
I would hope so. I mean, the back four, you think about it, in them 8 games, if you don't concede any goals, or not many goals, you've got a chance. You don't have to create that many opportunities on top of that. However, if you do start and concede goals, then then it puts some more pressure on Bamford and Traore and all the attacking players to get the results.
We don't know if the rumours are true, but we have heard when Pulis came in, he did go around the players saying, I want this from you, I want that from you. And one of them was, he went to Danny Ayala and said, I'd like 6 goals out of you between now and the end of the season. Well, what's your weight in now, 4 or 5? So maybe, hey Graeme, maybe you've got the inside track here. Maybe you know, it's Pulis old school, that's what he does.
I think probably is old school. You know, we talk about, I mean, there's that many people in the backroom staff with fitness training and psychologists and all that. We didn't have any of that. The psychologists were in the team room. We had people who would stand up and say, right, I want this. McAndrew, the captain, would stand up and say, well, this is what I want from you. Souness would say, I want this. And this is what, but they have all sorts of backup staff now who will be doing that. And if I was the manager, I'd be saying, right, well, you get me this information, you get me the management information that I need. And right, this is the plan we've got for 8 games. We've got a fortnight off. I'd have given them a week off the first week and probably gone to somewhere like Spain or something in the nice sunshine. And relax the players, because it's going to be real hard work, and it's going to be real pressurised situations in the last, it's only 4 weeks or 5 weeks of the season. We'll
talk more about that in the second part, because there are some tough games coming up as well. Yeah, some of them are at home, some of them are away. It's not going to be the easiest to run. It's just a couple of comments coming in now. Stu, I'll ask you the question about Souness in the second half, mate. We'll have more of a chat with Graeme about his time at the Borough. Good point of the weekend. This is Harvey. Let's get as many points as we can. Daniel Bostock of the Borough. Let's get back to taking 3 points. Do you think Dimmy should get his chance? Which Mark Watts obviously comes back and says that's crazy talk. Good point of the weekend, says Harvey. Great first half, second half. We sat back a lot. It's a point gained rather than those lost. And Stu Wallace is he's obviously impressed with you, mate. He says, great assessment of game planning by Graeme. He doesn't talk sense. Don't allow him to think he talks sense.
You never get me off.
So if we see, good point. There were a couple of, I mean, we mentioned Ayala there. That was an interesting one, isn't it, Mark? Because Ayala we thought was ruled out. It had come out before the game, you know, pushed out in a wheelchair, couldn't walk, no way he could play. But suddenly he's in the back 4. Yeah,
there's a social media clip with him struggling to get in his own car. Someone's helping into his car, and really bad way before the game. But then plays really well in a game which was a tough game. Yeah. So you know, whether it's going to be a bit of mind games from Tony Pulis, does that go on, Graeme? A bit of mind games?
Oh, yeah, of course it does. I mean, he'll be cajoling the players. He'll be saying to Ayala, listen, you've got me a few goals. You're part of the team, a really vital part of this team. We need you in that back 4. We've been playing solid when you're... So you know, he might have a bit of a groin strain. He might have whatever. They'll give him the best treatment. Like I say, put him in a wheelchair, put him in all ice baths, or do all they have to do. But if he's in the mindset now, I want to be in this team. And if he wants to be in the team, he'll do anything to play. And obviously he did, because he played all right on Saturday.
Okay. I want to prime you, because we're going to talk, obviously, Wolves. Wolves is not too far away. We're going to have a bit of a break over the weekend, over the next weekend, of course. So have a think about that as well, fellas. But just want to leave with you, Mark. Looking further ahead, you know, we've got Sheffield United, we've got Wolves, we've got Derby County. It's not going to be the easiest to run-ins for the Borough, is it? How much of a focus do they need?
No, for me, they need to be really focused, and it's not the easiest run in the world. I'm sure we're going to speak after the break. But the mindset the Boro are in, the way Pulis has got them going, for me, like Graeme said, I think it's all about mind games, and I think they'll be really up for the fight.
Fantastic. Well, fellas, we're going to earn some money. Take a quick break. A bit of social media news coming up with Matt after the break, and we'll be talking to Graeme about those days with Graeme Souness. I mean, he was the better midfielder, wasn't he? So he had no chance.
Definitely.
We'll catch you after this short break on Red Army TV. Join us then.
Red Army social media, sponsored by Person to Person Marketing.
Okay, another week, another point for the Boro. So let's see what you lot have been shouting about on this week's social media. Starting off with 8 games to go. He was saying, "Find it embarrassing when I see old fans talking about other clubs' attendances when we have no right to take the mick out of anyone. Argue about how much better we are at football, but not attendances when we could and should be doing so much better ourselves." Michelle Besford said, "Happiness is watching Adama Traore go out on one of his runs." Oh. Mock Bravado, "Make no mistake, if Boro make the playoffs, it is because of Downing and then Traore. Randolph closes out my top 3. And finally, Besotted Brentford, they've stated, "Fair play to Boro fans on post-match podcast from the pub, who were very complimentary of Brentford FC, claiming was a good point for them." Right, keep your social media comments coming into us here at Red Army at Boro Red Army. Back to you at the studio.
Red Army social media, sponsored by Person to Person Marketing.
Cheers for that one, matey. Matt with the social media. Right, let's have a look. Couple of quick comments. Linda Revell, I think Ayala's got a new lease of life under Pulis. Absolutely. Is it Pulis or is it Pulis? We had Pulis last week.
Yeah.
Pulis, I think. What's this? Dimmy should never have been dropped. That's Daniel Bostock. Victor Valdez. Dimmy. Close one. But a good point here, and I want you to go back to it. Stu Wallace. Graeme played with some greats. Souness, etc. Who was his favourite in his 50 appearances with Boro? 50. Let's take the mic, mate. Who's your favourite player you played with?
Played with
At the Boro?
the best player, without a shadow of a doubt, Souness. It's an easy
Yeah.
answer.
It's an easy win, is it?
But if you look at that team, if you look at that midfield of Murdoch, fantastic footballer, David Armstrong, 300 odd games off the trot, Souness, absolutely incredible. And then we had Craig Johnson, Mark Proctor, myself coming on. And I'm thinking, well, how the hell? No wonder I only played 50 games of getting into that team, you know. But I was there more for the social aspect of the team.
Really?
I was more the social chap, you know, of the team.
You used to take them to the library, did you?
I used to go to the library every Friday and Saturday after the game, obviously. Yeah.
Speaking about that, Graeme, was the camaraderie compared to today's football? A lot of individuals, a lot of big money, big cars. Was the camaraderie a lot better then than it is now? Would you say?
That's a great question, but it's difficult for me to answer that because I can only relate to what I can relate to. But we had a great group of lads. Not saying everybody went out together all the time, but the majority of the people went out Saturday night after the game. We all went to a local night spot or whatever with all the wives and girlfriends and sometimes both. Sorry, and then we would go and we maybe go away for a weekend or whatever, and we were there Monday, and you knew you were fighting for your pals, and they were friends. I haven't seen some lads for 30, 40 years, but if I pick the phone up, it's like as though it was yesterday. Yeah. And that's a camaraderie that you build, and that was as a youngster, being there from 15-year-old till 24 years of age. I learnt more in that time about life and about whatever, and that stood us in good stead right throughout my life anyway.
So you mentioned wives and girlfriends. No, sorry, we won't go there. Big Jack, we talked about Pulis being old school. Big Jack, he made old school. What was he like?
Absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure that he wasn't the greatest coach in the world. We had good Ian McFarlane, Jimmy Greenoff, Jimmy Hedridge was a bagman. But Jack was Jack. He just had a presence about him when he came into the dressing room, when he went anywhere. If we went on tour, it was just like being at Hollywood because everybody knew Jack Charlton. And he had a clear view how you play. He had 4 at the back, which is very similar to Pulis and what they're doing now. You're good goalkeeper in international with Platty. 4 at the back, 3 or 4 midfield players and 2 up front. And I remember going back, this is another football manager, one of the football managers said to me, football's like a piano, you need 8 to carry it and 3 to play it. And if you look at the Middlesbrough team now, they've got 8, you've got Bamford, Turori and Downing who are playing it, and you've got 8 who are carrying it, and they need that as a team. And that's whether it's 2018 or 1977, nothing changes in my view.
Well, we're talking, there are similarities between Pulis and Big Jack. Scrapping you out of the Championship to get to the Premier League is something Jack knew all about and Pulis knows all about. Do you reckon we've got in Pulis the sort of manager who will carry a team through by rolling sleeves up and getting stuck in and doing what you must? I
think that's his background. That's where he's from. He's from the lower leagues and been with all what we call the tough teams to manage, West Brom, Stoke. He's always got good results. That's probably why they've brought him in, because he's got this track record in the lower leagues meaning the Championship. But he's got a lot of know-how and he's got a lot of nous and he's been around a long time and he'll have seen this hundreds of times. So all he's doing is using that experience. He'll have all the management information that he needs from all the gurus that are around him. But at the end of the day, it's still old-fashioned values that he's putting them on. I can see it in his team.
Couple of messages. Gary Upex, I hope you make pies, mate, and if you do, I'll have one. Gary Randolph, top 3. Good shout. Here's one. One for each. We're getting personal now. Paul Megison. Go on, Mark, lad. Up the borough. One of your mates?
Yeah, very good soldier. Mega.
You knew him in the army, did you?
Yeah.
And a certain Billy Ashcroft is watching, and he says, my best mate at the borough.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Billy's a regular.
Billy Ashcroft is absolutely top drawer. You better be watching.
He is.
He's an absolute top drawer. Comedian, football, great lad. And we still keep in touch with each other, so we'll speak about this tonight. No doubt.
He's big friends with the programme. It's great to have you with us, Billy, and he tunes in most weeks and watches what we've got to talk about, which is normally garbage. So let's look ahead. You
still owe me 45 quid, so I'll get it later, never mind.
Billy, you're owing 45 quid, mate. Wolves. I know we've got a weekend off. There's a bit of international shenanigans going on. But Wolves, I suppose 2 weeks to prepare for it. How tricky a game, despite home advantage, is that going to be?
I don't like to say make or break games, but it's got to be up there with the best of them because you are playing against theoretically the best side. Leagues don't tell lies, do they? We've got to be in our game. We've got to be playing really well. And, like Graeme said, they've got to play together. They've got to be a unit. Everyone will be told that they're what they expected of them. I think there'll be a big crowd, Easter period, a lot of tickets will be sold. I think it's on TV, is it?
Friday night game.
Good Friday.
You know, it's on Good Friday, and I still think there'll be a big crowd. So I think it's going to be a really big, important game for us.
Graeme, from a player's perspective, there you are in the Borough team. You've just got yourself, you're on a decent run, unbeaten in 6, I think it is now. You're into the playoffs, you've got yourself finally back into a decent position. But, well, I was going to say the runaway leaders. Cardiff have pegged them back, and the likes and Villa and that are picking up some points. But it's Wolves who've been up there, head and shoulders above everybody else coming to town. What goes through your mind?
I think it's probably one of the best games they can have. They've got Wolves, they're up the top, there's something to be shot at. Not so much nothing to lose, but they'll go out with the attitude. The crowd will be behind them, the Riverside will be bouncing. Like I say, a Friday night game, they'll be on the TV, the players will be up for it. Wolves will be coming to town thinking, well, a point will do us. Middlesbrough will be all over them like a rash, and I think it's a great game for them. And if you look at the 4 home games they've got left, they managed to win 3 out of them and draw the other one. They're well on the way to this playoffs, without a shadow of a doubt. But
there are some tricky games. I don't want to go too far ahead, but yeah, Derby are on the slide, but they've been up there. We've got Wolves we've mentioned. Millwall have picked up some form. Sheffield United breathing down our necks, Mark. Is it a good time to be playing those teams, or would you rather be playing bottom half teams?
I think where we are now with one foot in the playoffs is a good time to be playing teams. But I think you're right, Dave, because there's a couple of teams above us who may be having a little slide, Graeme.
Exactly.
There's also a team below us which is just now a point behind us. So how does that, as a player, Graeme, how does that affect a player? Are they looking for the teams above, or are they worrying about the team below?
The results from now to the end of the season there'll be a few shocks. There'll be a few teams that you think, oh well, so and so's got to go to Villa. Like last week, for instance, QPR go to Villa. They beat them 3-0. A week before, they beat Wolves 4-0 at home. that game, Villa, same thing. Villa will be right up for the game. Big crowd, home game, derby. They absolutely wipe the floor with Wolves, and yet they have a game where QPR have very little to play for. They're safe from, they're in mid-table. They just come and play with gear band and just knock the ball about. And
so you
Villa,
think from a focus perspective for the Boro players, it's better to be in there every other game, battling with the teams up above you or around you?
And if you think about it, in these games, they're playing Derby and Sheffield, the pressure's on them as well. You know, they've got pressure on. They have to come and get some results. They have to come and get some points. It's a different type of pressure. You're playing Burton. Burton Albion's probably out the last 8 games. That's probably the one they're going to be worried about the most, because they'll have to go to Burton, and everybody's thinking, "Oh, we're going to take the points."
Right, we're just about out of time. We are taking the Red Army coach to Burton and Sheffield United. All the away games. Get in touch if you want to go. Scoreline prediction, very briefly. I mean, a matter of 5 seconds. What's the score?
I think 1-0 Boro.
1-0 Middlesbrough.
Absolute pleasure
First
having you in,
clean
mate.
sheet.
Absolute pleasure seeing you again.
My pleasure.
We didn't get you to sing. You're a bit of a crooner. He's got a great voice. Fantastic voice. Next time you're on that couch, we want a song out
The
to you,
Christmas album's for sale in the
Yeah.
foyer if you wanted. Yeah,
Good
that's
man.
fine.
Mark, thank you, mate. We'll see
Thanks.
you very shortly. We'll see you too.